One U.S. town banned TV until 1979 and somehow ended up happier than the ones that didn't. Progress is great unless you miss what it ran over. Across America, some towns didn't chase the future. They locked the doors and kept living like it's 1963. These places aren't dead. They've got working post offices, bowling alleys, and parades that haven't changed since the Beatles were still a local band. In a country that updates its apps more than its values, these towns stuck with jukeboxes, handshake deals, and church signs that still matter. These aren't theme parks. These are real communities that chose preservation over progress and somehow thrived doing it. Today we're counting down 10 U.S. towns where the 1960s hit pause and nobody's hit play since. No stage sets, no quirky retro branding, just real places where time refused to cooperate. From barbershops that still gossip in black and white to ferries you operate by hand. Think you know quaint? Let's see how long your AirPods survive in a town where the phone still rings on the wall. Like this video if you secretly wish your town had a milkman. Subscribe so you don't end up in a city that replaced its library with a vape lounge. Let's break it down. Number 10. Mount Airy, North Carolina. In Mount Airy, they don't just remember the 1960s, they walk around inside it. This is the town the Andy Griffith Show was based on. You can get a haircut at Floyd's barbershop, eat at Snappy Lunch, and wave to a cop driving a Mayberry squad car. The whole place looks like someone laminated 1962. Population just under 10,000, but it pulls in over 300,000 tourists a year. Mount Airy is so locked in the past. The biggest controversy in recent years was whether to replace the payphone outside the soda shop. Spoiler, they didn't. They kept it, preserved it, and made it a landmark. Median home price around $175,000. Violent crime rate below the national average. Unemployment hovering around 4.5%. Jobs are local, slow, and not exactly booming. This is a town where working remotely means yelling across the street to Earl at the hardware store. It's like living in a Norman Rockwell painting if Norman forgot to add high-speed internet. Emotionally, it's cozy. Financially, it's manageable. Culturally, you better like reruns. Restaurants close on Sundays. Wi-Fi passwords are written on chalkboards. The same radio station has been playing Elvis since Elvis walked the earth. And honestly, there's something beautiful about that commitment. Picture yourself stepping out of a diner where eggs cost $2.75 and the waitress knows your grandpa's real name. You walk past a hardware store that smells like oil and wood, not Apple Store anxiety. A parade's rolling by. Nobody knows what TikTok is, and it's kind of perfect. Number 9. Silverton, Colorado. Silverton is where steam trains still drop you off on Main Street, and the Wi-Fi runs on what I can only assume is hope. Nestled at 9,318 feet, it's surrounded by mountains, time, and people who still know how to fix a carburetor. One road in, one road out. Main Street is pure mid-century Americana. Brick buildings, flag-lined sidewalks, and zero chains. No Starbucks, no McDonald's. Just vintage diners that look like they were last remodeled during the Kennedy administration. Median home price around $330,000. Violent crime rate virtually non-existent. Population just under 650. That's not a typo, that's a guest list. Jobs mostly seasonal, tourism-driven. This is like living in a snow globe where someone forgot to shake it. Emotionally, Silverton's a throwback dream. Financially manageable if you don't mind your main hustle being pretend I don't need Amazon Prime. You trade convenience for charm. Fast food for slow neighbors. Altitude is brutal. Silverton sits so high up, oxygen shows up late. Your car wheezes like a 2-pack-a-day smoker. Picture waking up to a steam train echoing off the canyon walls. Wood paneling, turquoise booths, black coffee served like medicine. Number 8. Havana, Illinois. Havana sits along the Illinois River, population hovering around 3,000, and absolutely zero interest in becoming the next big thing. Main Street brick storefronts, neon signs, and a movie theater that still runs on 35mm film. Diners look like they've been marinating in bacon grease since the Johnson administration. People live slow here. Not lazy, intentional. Fishing at sunrise, coffee at the same counter every morning, and a parade schedule that hasn't changed since your grandparents were dating. Median home price? Approximately $110,000. Rent around $700. Violent crime? Slightly below national average. Cost of living about 23% lower than the US baseline. Job market surprisingly steady. If you like your news slow and your coffee hot, Havana's your place. If you're running from big city drama, congratulations. Your witness protection fantasy starts here. Emotionally living here feels like inheriting someone else's scrapbook. Financially, it's a steal. You trade Target runs for hardware store gossip. You trade nightlife for porch lights. This place has humidity so personal, it should text you good morning. 1 minute you're walking downtown, the next you're sweating through your shirt. And don't get me started on the mosquitoes. Those things pay property taxes. Number 7, Bristol, Rhode Island. In Bristol, it's 1962 all year round, but with better lobster rolls and slightly more sunscreen. If Norman Rockwell painted a coastal town and accidentally made it permanent, it would be Bristol. Brick storefronts, old school diners, front porches with real flags, not the Amazon Prime kind. Main Street is painted red, white, and blue. Bristol is home to the oldest continuous Independence Day celebration in America since 1785. Population around 22,000. Median home price approximately $465,000. Violent crime rate less than half the national average. Job market solid in healthcare, tourism, and education. It's like Pleasantville with seafood. You're not just stepping back in time, you're waiting there too. Financially, it's coastal New England. Quaint doesn't come with a discount. You either blend in or you bounce. There's no just visiting energy here. If you move to Bristol, you better own boat shoes and pretend to care about sailing. This town doesn't just have a 4th of July parade. It has the 4th of July parade. If July 4th falls on a Sunday, they literally move it so Jesus doesn't compete with the brass band. Number 6, Bisbee, Arizona. Bisbee is where retired miners, retired hippies, and retired typewriters all go to live in peace together. When the mines shut down in the 1970s, the artists moved in, and the weirdos and the wanderers. It's as if the town collectively said, what if the 1960s just never left? You'll find psychics next to antique shops, biker bars next to bookstores, and parades for things like chairs and mushrooms. Literal parades. Population around 5,000, not counting the ghosts. Median home price, approximately $255,000. Rent approximately $800 per month, unless your landlord accepts paintings as partial payment. Not a joke. Crime low. Job market arts, tourism, remote work. Bisbee feels like a Wes Anderson dream set in a thrift store. Financially, it's surprisingly accessible. You won't find fast food chains, but you will find a haunted hotel, a bar inside a cave, and a woman who's been selling crystals since Nixon resigned. Parking situation is non-existent. Every house is on a 45-degree slope. You haven't truly questioned your life choices until you've parallel parked on a street so steep your coffee slides off the dashboard. Imagine waking up to nothing except a distant wind chime, a rooster, or someone practicing saxophone from a roof. Number 5. Saugatuck, Michigan. Saugatuck is what happens when a 1960s beach town grows up, keeps the vinyl, and becomes fabulously chill instead of falling apart. Tucked along Michigan's west coast on Lake Michigan, this place is a time loop with good coffee. Downtown has pastel buildings, awning-covered cafes, antique shops with radios that still play Motown. There's an actual chain ferry from the 1800s that still crosses the river by hand. Yes, manually with a rope like the Oregon Trail, but make it cozy. It's not themed. No one's trying to look vintage. It just never updated. Population approximately 925. Median home price around $550,000. Rent limited, seasonal, and expensive. Crime rate very low. Job market tourism, hospitality, arts. Saugatuck is like if Bob Ross painted Provincetown and told everyone to relax and be nice to each other. It's charming and low-key allergic to stress. Living here is equal parts adorable and expensive. You're paying for the vibe, not the convenience. You're not just buying a house, you're buying into a vibe. Parking in summer is brutal. The town triples in size. Trying to find a spot, you have a better chance of winning an Oscar. Imagine waking up to the sound of waves and wind chimes. You walk past clapboard houses, smell sunscreen, and hear a barista call someone hun unironically. Number 4, Abilene, Kansas. Abilene is the kind of town where they'll fix your tractor and your sense of what decade it is without ever updating either. This is the hometown of Dwight D. Eisenhower. The entire town's DNA is tattooed with it. You've got classic Americana storefronts, drive-in restaurants, weekly paper boys, old folks who call the mayor by his first name. Main Street, where time didn't slow down, it refused to move forward. Population around 6,400. Just big enough for variety, small enough for gossip. Median home price approximately $160,000. Cost of living 26% below the national average. Crime rate low. Job market agriculture, education, healthcare, and tourism. Living here means your budget breathes. No 5G drama, no rush hour. Your neighbor might fix your fence just for fun, but limited options, shallow job pool, quieter than a library during finals. Your grocery store has 5 aisles and a gossip counter. Weather is brutal. One week it's 80 and sunny. The next, you're scraping ice while the wind tries to slap your soul out. Kansas has a roulette wheel with tornadoes taped to it. Picture stepping out onto your front porch. Screen door creaks. You wave at the same neighbor who's been walking their dog since Eisenhower left office. You feel safe, steady, like maybe the world isn't ending. Number 3, Woodstock, Vermont. Welcome to Woodstock, where the 1960s never ended. They just opened a gift shop. Walk through town once, and you realize this place didn't just survive the 1960s, it franchised it. This is peak nostalgia capitalization done right. Between the Tibetan prayer flags, the bookstore named Miracles, and a woman selling homemade essential oils out of a former gas station, you get it. Population around 6,000 with more drum circles than stoplights. More crystal shops than coffee shops, which is saying something. Median home price approximately $550,000 because enlightenment isn't cheap. Cost of living 35% above national average. Crime rate low. Jobs mostly tourism, art, and low-stress entrepreneurship. Think candle shop owner, Reiki healer, gluten-free bagel dealer. It's like Portland had a baby with a yoga retreat and forgot to teach it capitalism. It's hippie Disneyland with Wi-Fi. While it looks like the 1960s, the economics are fully 2020s. Rents are steep. Groceries are organic and overpriced. If you're not an artist, a barista, or selling metaphysical stones out of your trunk, good luck finding full-time work. You're paying for the vibe, not the convenience. Walking down a maple-lined street, acoustic guitar floating out of cafes, hand-carved signs pointing toward vinyl, vegan empanadas, and aura cleansing. Someone offers you lavender lemonade and your wallet evaporates. This town is proof that peace, love, and handmade soap can cost as much as a Brooklyn studio apartment. Number 2, Wall, South Dakota. Waldrug isn't a town, It's a marketing hallucination with a zip code. Wall, South Dakota. Population about 750. Billboard count infinite. If you've driven through South Dakota, you've seen the signs. Free ice water at Wall Drug. When you finally pull off I-90, you enter a living postcard. Buildings look like the set of Gunsmoke. Signs haven't changed since Eisenhower had a buzz cut. Wall Drug is technically just a massive store, but it runs the town. Median home value around $160,000. Cost of living 12% below national average. Job market mostly tourism and retail. Crime rate low, unless you count crimes against interior design. You're basically waking up every day inside an Old West-themed Instagram filter. That 5-cent coffee is real, but it tastes like someone whispered folded into hot water. Wall Drug has everything. Cowboy boots, taxidermied jackalopes, a chapel, a T-Rex. Why? No one knows. It's like a 1960s mall got drunk and tried to build a church casino roadside diner hybrid. You can buy a belt buckle, a Bible, and a buffalo burger in the same aisle. Picture stepping outside into a Technicolor cowboy movie. There's a guy riding a fake horse, a band playing Johnny Cash covers. You're 14% sure you're in a simulation, but you're okay with it. Number 1, Mineral Point, Wisconsin. In Mineral Point, time didn't stop. It politely excused itself, baked a pie, and went home. Welcome to Mineral Point, where the vibe is Norman Rockwell, but with better cheese and a genuine love for community. Main Street actually matters. People wave at each other unironically. If you ask where the Starbucks is, they might recommend you see a doctor. Founded by Cornish miners in the 1800s, Mineral Point peaked between the Ford Mustang and the last time someone said groovy without irony, and it stayed there perfectly. Buildings are original limestone, shops are independent. Energy like someone cast a preservation spell and forgot the expiration date. Mineral Point didn't accidentally preserve the past. It chose to, on purpose. And it shows. Median home price around $240,000. Crime rate lower than your cholesterol after Cornish pasties. Cost of living 14% below the national average. Unemployment 2.8%. Quality of life 9 out of 10. It's like living in a Hallmark movie but without the fake snow or aggressive Christmas trauma. If you're under 40, you might be mistaken for a visiting documentary crew. There's one gas station, 2 antique stores, and roughly 300 people named Barb. It's wholesome to the point of discomfort, like a Truman Show reboot levels of polite. If you want a haircut after 5 p.m., good luck. That's bedtime. This is the only town where you can eat a Cornish pasty, buy a hand-thrown mug, and run into your 4th grade teacher who's still teaching somehow. Same energy as before, but with better pie. Smash that like button if you've ever wanted to flee society and disappear into a town where your biggest responsibility is showing up to the pie auction. Subscribe if your backup life plan involves opening a general store no one asked for. If nostalgia were a drug, Mineral Point would be an unregulated pharmacy with 3 rocking chairs out front.